Hello, thanks for taking time to watch this little bit of a demo. I'll move fairly quickly just to give you an overview of what we have. So this system that we built, this one is B Matrix USA. See up here, they got a little logo in here. Is meant as a CRM and an MRP. So CRM, client relationship management, allows us to manage the companies and contacts within there. This company does trade shows, so they track some of this stuff and also their product sales. So from a client relationship management standpoint, there's lots of tools here. From the MRP or manufacturing resource planning, of course, we have a catalog with the items that we sell, vendors that we buy the items from, purchase orders to purchase from the vendors, and a SKU issue report that we created for users to report any kind of inconsistencies or inaccuracies in the SKU items in the catalog. So this company, much like Mini does quotes for their customers, we turn those into sales orders. Then we obviously need production work orders, so we've got that built in, and then there's some sales reporting also. This here is internal company information that was built in, meetings and some company information. This is like job descriptions, organizational charts, policies, procedures, and whatnot that we've built into that. So if you're interested in some of this other stuff, we can certainly talk about that. What I think we need to demonstrate is companies and some contacts, and of course quotes, sales orders, and production orders is probably the most important thing. And all that is tied to, of course, the catalog and vendors and stuff. But anyway, we'll take a look at that more in just a second. Let's move on to what a user would see at login. So we have a home dashboard, I call it, little house dashboard. Brings a user to their dashboard, which looks a little confusing at first, but this section over here, we've got company directory, some help topics can be found in here, and active jobs. And then we've got back to the company dashboard easily. This is actually go find any of these things, jobs, quotes, sales orders, production orders, companies, and so on. Same thing here, we just go to these without actually going to a find. We did have a time clock at one point. Sorry, there we go. Integrated into this system. We also have internal jobs. So these are jobs that we are assigning internally for employees and managers. Events, so I call these pin job events. So these are anything associated with jobs, timelines for production, meetings, anything that can be scheduled as an event on a calendar. And also my calendar, which shows all my events. So if I go to, let's go to month view, we can see that I've got a couple of events scheduled here. So everyone has a calendar. They are filtered by a staff member. They also filter by projects and other criteria. So that's a really useful tool to see all the events or deadlines that I have to meet. So that's the dashboard for the company and the dashboard for each individual. So next we'll dive into a little bit of production stuff. Before looking at production, let's look at the CRM capabilities that we built into this system. So we need to go and find our companies, and I'll just put in a company I notice here. Larhoven is a client of this of B Matrix, and so there's notes that we keep for companies over here. There's different criteria that has been defined for this particular company. So this is a great sales tool to keep track of all the contacts for this particular customer. There's different statuses, their rank and potential. But then we have contacts. So there's multiple contacts within any company. So we have the ability to add and subtract contacts over here. So also, this was notes from history that we moved over to this location. We show all the open quotes, active orders for this company, and a job history. So these are all the jobs that have gone through for this particular company. So we can also look at the company projects, who gives us an overview of everything that they have, open quotes. These are all the quotes that were done for this company that were lost, all pretty small ones. These are the order sales, so 209,000. So all in total, 239,300 in projects, which includes open and lost quotes. So this will show us their total down here, which is 78% order sale, 16 lost, and 4 still in open quotes. So this is a great company to work with. They've got a nice pie for us to dig into. So I'll go back to the company. So for the most part, everything for a company is listed in this one location that you can find and report on. Next, we'll dig into the contacts. So with contacts, everything happens with a contact, not necessarily a company, at least with this scenario. So we can create notes also for a contact if we need to. There's events for contacts. For instance, maybe a meeting or a callback or a follow-up could be scheduled from this events tab that also shows up on a calendar. Additional phone and faxes. We also have jobs. So these are all the jobs that are in for Mr. William Brown, and we can create a new job. So let's move on to creating a new job. Okay, well, let's create a new job. And for this company, we're going to put in this, we'll just put in this as a name real quick. So end user is what they're using. I just listed this as counter. So we start a new job in this company anyway with a quote open. So this is an open quote that a salesperson or a account manager might be using. So we've created a quote number within a job, and I've put a couple of items in here, and we're going to say that this is for the counter. This is a sub-summary title, but Alabama White Granite shows that we have 20 on hand. I'm going to go ahead and do 10 at the price, so you can see it's filling in our stuff here. I'll go ahead and I tab through, and it'll give me another opportunity here for another item. We'll just throw in another one, and we're going to call this one backsplash. So again, it shows 20 on hand, and if I put in 25 here, this will turn orange to tell me that if this quote sells, we don't have enough on hand. So it's a pretty good little feature. Let's just put it 5 here at $100. So I don't want this line. I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and we'll just go with these. So now we have a quote. We can request a deposit from this quote. There's dates and notes that we can add to it, but let's get into just a little bit of the functionality of where this is coming from. So this comes from our catalog, and this little thing will pull up our catalog. I'll slide this up. So in the media section, it shows that this is the white Alabama. We have sell price, cost. There's some calculations over here, so it's showing us a sell margin of 50%. If there's a components within this, we can add component lists to this. So there might be all kinds of components that comprise this thing. You can also list the vendor. So this is like all the vendors that we have in here. So if it's Agam and they have their own SKU number and description or whatnot. So we can put in a lot of information, the specifications, again, vendors, and you can have multiple vendors. We can do a vendor down here that's air, power, gas. So we can have multiple vendors for one item, and then all the cost. and here's the current levels. So we do history and cycle counts. So there's cycle counts, last order, quarterly counts. So there's an inventory module that we built in here that's very powerful also. So let's get back to in the data. We'll also have a bigger screen. Some people like to see things in a bigger view. So this actually shows the items that we have, the backsplash, the countertops. Actually, shows us a picture over here of the item, and we can say, show this to me. You can automatically open this. So we pop up and get to see a picture of whatever the item is. So it's pretty powerful for quoting. Now, once the quote is done, we want to print it. This has given us a couple of dialogues. We can change some of the text down here. This window's a little bit small, I guess, for this, but anyway, here's our items. It's going to quote for this company, and of course, all the details for that. Now that we did the quote, I wanted to show you the quote list. So this shows us a list of all the quotes. These are obviously they're old information, so they were expected to sell on these dates. The dates turn red, and then if they're current, they don't. But the great thing about this, we're actually showing our bid total and the cost of the items in that bid, so it shows us a margin. So we can keep an eye on the margin that we're selling, and this company likes to stay around a 60 margin, so we're a little bit under at 57.67. Also, the people quoting, account managers and whatnot, we put in a percentage of the chance that this will close, so maybe 100%, 50%, 40%, whatever that may be. So this is showing us our 298,000 in the pipeline quotes that could sell, and the cost of those quotes and the margin. So that's quoting. So once we've created a new job, I'll show you this test job that I have in here, just to kind of go through. We have an overview. Of course, we have quotes in here. Design and sales, this is for designers that go along with each quote, and they can add files just as easily as dragging, and I'll drag this in from my desktop and drop it in here. But so they can put in any kind of design files, doesn't matter what it is, videos, whatever. Then they might mark that there's different criteria. Orders come from quotes. So we create an order from this quote. It actually creates the order over here, and that's where we get into production work order and some cost detailing, shipping information, printing and whatnot. Then we have a schedule associated with this job of when things need to happen. So there's different phases within the schedule, the office, production phases, material phases to order materials, engineering, graphics, and shipping. So if we click off of this, it shows all the phases. So that's very powerful. We can view the events as a list. We can view them in a Gantt chart. And we can also, add milestones from templates. So there's different templates that we can produce to create these schedules with. Predefined schedules for certain criteria are very easy to put in here, and we can, of course, print the schedule. We also have some time tracking built into this, which is very powerful. If we schedule these hours, forecast hours, they show up as forecast hours here. And then we can actually add time. Individuals can add their time to this, and we can do some job time costing and tracking. So let's go back to the overview. There's some interesting stuff here. Anything that a client might provide for us, drawings, like this is a client drawing I added to this. So I'll open this, I'm gonna open this file, and I just happen to grab some countertop stuff. But Anyway, the client provided this and another drawing that a designer or somebody doing quotations would use in producing a quote. So that's very powerful to keep all the information that here's maybe a rendering that they provided, and we can open up that and say, well, let's take a look at the rendering and see what they're looking for. So very powerful to be able to just add new files that they've brought to us. There's some tabs over here for materials. This ties in with our PO requisitions. You can create requisitions and POs right from here, and it lists it in the job. Total cost of purchases for this job. So this goes into our complete job costing module that is also built in here to give us job costing. So that's the overview. Quotes we'll cover real quickly, and then we'll go from there. So once a quote has been signed off on, and we'll get back to our little quote that we created here. Once a quote has been signed off on, and we want to make it into a sales order, we just create an order from this quote. This is asking if it has any graphic items, and I'll say no. So then we ask for customer PO numbers and all the shipping information. So order terms comes from the account. Default terms can certainly be changed. I can say click to bill to this company, also ship to this company. So then we go to the order itself, and we see that it's the exact same items as in the quote. So this quote is always going to remain the same. We don't mess with it. That was the beginning. We've created a waiting status, which means maybe a project manager is going to look at this and detail it and make sure that it's ready. So that's creating an order. After we've created an order, to take this from the waiting, so in the detailing, and this is where we would have our project managers working from this detailing order. So you can see the pictures of the items that we've ordered. The status is still in waiting. So when I've reviewed this and I say, yeah, this is great, we're ready to go, I can mark this as ready, mark this as ready. I can also put in some comment, make sure to cut right. So I'll put in this comment for the production people can see this as well. So from here, a project manager can create a purchase order from this order, and we've got some automated things that pull these items and create POs, and we'd have to get into that. It's a little bit deep for this demonstration right now. So we can print a purchase or a work order. So this would be the printed work order. We don't work from paper too much anymore, but this would be printed out, and you can see the detailing comments. Make sure to cut right, and then any other type of production comments that might be put in there from the production work order, which I'll show you now. So if we close this and we say we want to see the production work order. Now this is what the production people actually work from electronically. And as you can see, the note that I made as the project manager is listed here, as well as the picture of the item. Now once I've shipped this, if I say I'm shipping 8, because that's all we have, it automatically creates a back order situation here, and this should actually go to back order. But if we put 10, we'll be good, and we can say I completed it because I shipped 10. Over here we're going to ship 5, and I can also put in the production people on this side can put in a note that says done. They might even say on hold, waiting on material. Just a simple note to go along with this. It says it's on hold. We haven't been able to ship it. So that's the production work order in electronic version. That's what they work from, and they don't work on anything that's not marked ready. So if this was marked waiting, they would not ship this because maybe the color is going to change. Real quick little feature for applying payments to an order. So there's a $85 balance here. If we click in payments, so we can apply a payment to this order. We'll say cash, and we'll just pay it off, or we'll just do $85. So now we have a balance of 32 cents down here. So just a way of keeping track of payments if you do that to an order. Okay. Another feature in the job overview is this chats. So as a manager, I got tired of trying to chase down emails. So in any job, a conversation happens quite a bit about quotes, about design, about orders, engineering, scheduling. There's all kinds of conversations going on about a job. So this chat feature has been implemented into this, and there's only one guy in here, so I'm gonna start a chat with this other person, and you'll see it says the chat was started by me on this date at this time regarding this particular job, and I can say, what is the timeline for shipping, for instance. Okay, so just something simple like this actually keeps this, and this is a public chat, so these records can be printed at any time, and it gives you all kinds of options for printing and showing the timestamps and exactly when these conversations happened. So in all these jobs, we can see attachments even. So this attachment, if I open it, shows that I've attached your logo to this conversation. And these stay in perpetuity, easy to find, easy to search, easy to keep track of who's saying what about any given job. So that is job chats. Those are also available in some of the other functions I'll show later. All right, let's demonstrate the engineering function that we have in here. This is a communication tool, of course. Special instructions for production. So maybe I type something in. I'll just paste this in here. So do it right the first time. Fabrication specs. So perhaps we have. I'm just going to drop this in here. It's and setup instructions, and maybe even. So CNC files. So this is, you can add as many files here as you want. Doesn't really matter. But where this really pays off, if we go to the production work order, select an order. So we go to the production work order, and I'll pull this into where we can see it. So we have all these things that we need to do, but we need some engineering details. So this brings up, so you can see our do it right the first time, and then all of the files. So you can open this file and take a look at my instructions from the engineering drawings. And this is not CNC files, of course, but so we can bring up any kind of files immediately from engineering, and if those change, we just basically change it and communicate that there's new files in there. So that's very powerful for engineering to communicate fabrication specs, setups, CNC files, special instructions to the production crew. Let's take a quick look at the purchase order functionality for a job. So in this job we have materials. This one particularly already has a couple listed. I just wanted to show, shows the total, and this goes into job costing. So we can look up this PO 10128 for job 1100. So it shows us everything here. Let me add real quick, we have this chat over here as well, purchase orders, new chat. So I can say something about this purchase order just by saying, you know, when is delivery. So again, we have this constant conversation about this one purchase order going. So this one actually says complete. I'm going to do a little modification here. Let's add a new line. I want to demonstrate where this pulls from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll maybe recognize this from the quote. We'll add 1. That should actually pull a price. It's $50 is our cost. So this pulls from the exact same catalog. It should be pulling our cost and giving us our purchase price. So once this is detailed, I approve it. Whoever's going to approve it marks the status as approved. So we do have a PO list here, so it shows all the purchase orders in active status, approved, submitted, confirmed, whatnot. So complete, unpaid. There's a lot of different things that we can do there. With the purchase orders, sometimes we have quote specifications, packing, and freight information from our vendors that can be put into here. So again, it's a matter of dragging and dropping a file into these container fields to keep this information related to the purchase order. So a simple click takes us back to the job. Of course, we can create a new requisition that creates a brand new one. You'll see the 10312 for 1100, same thing, short description, stuff, and we'll pick us we'll say this is a paint company. We'll do this because they have a full thing. So we add a new line. Again, I can add one of these items that we added before. We'll do one, and it's $50 is our cost, if you remember correctly. So $50. I can approve it. Of course, we'll just say we want to print or email this. I'll cancel the printing and say yes, I want to email. So it actually creates an email with an attachment to the email on file, along with our purchase order number and a little message. And this is what they'll receive. It's kind of out of the screen here and bring it up, but so the total $50 shipped to our address and the terms net 50. So this is purchase orders. It's fairly easy to associate. So now we've got a little bit more here going on. We got another purchase order associated with this job. Let's jump over to the schedule, because this is probably the most powerful part of efficiencies, is to schedule things, of course. We made it pretty simple. We call things milestones when they need to be done. So we have some templates. So we can add from, and I'll pick one here. This is a template that's been predefined. I won't go into that right now, but large project, all departments. So I can continue that, and it'll just take a second to populate this. But here we go. We've got our schedule for this job, all mapped out based on predefined criteria, what the events are, their dates, when they follow each other, when they should be appropriate. Now, a project manager would probably come in and tweak some of this stuff based on certain criteria that they know now, but this is very powerful to just go at it this way. So of course we can say, just show me the office phases, the engineering phases, the graphic phases, material phases, production phases. So these are all the different phases that we've predefined for this one certain template. Also, you can see the dates. They can all be changed. This one is due today. So project planning meeting. So we call a plan meeting. So this is assigned to certain individuals over here, which shows up on their pinned job events that we discussed a little bit earlier. And we can add forecasting time. And I won't get into that right now, but so we can view these events as a list. And this is the kind of a list that an employee would see, but this is just the entire list of the job. We can view these on a Gantt chart. So some people like to work from a Gantt chart. Obviously, shipping can't happen down here until these above it have changed. So this is pretty powerful. We can actually drag these to a new date. So this changes the ship date just by dragging and dropping this to another date. So now it's changed the date in the schedule itself to 10/4 because we dragged it one day. So we drag it back again, it's gonna change that date. So that's pretty powerful. You see it's changed back to 10/3 now. Pretty powerful drag and drop kind of tools functionality if people like to work from this kind of a view. We can also say, look, we want to see it on the calendar, and we'll do a month view since it's spread out. So here it is in the month view. Green all means that it's ready to go. So it's marked as ready. If I say it's in progress, of course it's going to change that to orange. And also I can filter this out. So if I say filter, so you can see we're filtered by a project, the dev workflow, and I'm gonna put Rodney into here because I know he's still on this template to show how this filters out. So now we've filtered by Rodney in this project. So these are the things that Rodney is associated with. So you can see Rodney, it's due on 10/2. So as soon as he starts it, he might put it into progress or even say complete. So complete will turn it blue. So pretty powerful calendaring tools, filtered by staff members, filtered by projects, and you see the different criteria where it's at. You can also see this in a week view or even in a day, so we can say next week, and you can even see day view. So there's only one thing scheduled for today, and that's for me here. So that's the basics of scheduling. You can see these have been turned complete here, and then grade these out. So this is the very most powerful part of the whole program, I believe, is scheduling and keeping people on track and when things are due.